The stars looked peaceful through the viewing screen of the Zilani research ship Morning Star. Captain Kevvar watched them twinkle in the darkness as his crew worked quietly around him. The bridge was calm and quiet, just the way he liked it. His people were scientists, not soldiers. They studied stars and planets, not wars and weapons. Kevvar's blue-scaled skin caught the light from the control panels. His large eyes, like all Zilani eyes, were gentle and kind. His people had never hurt anyone in their long history. They ate plants, not meat. They built schools, not armies. They explored space to learn, not to conquer. Captain called Dr. Veltar from her science station. The star readings are very interesting. This system has 3 planets that might support life. Kevvar smiled. This was why they came to the Kepler sector. The neutral zone was supposed to be safe. No military ships came here. No one owned these stars. It was perfect for peaceful research. Send the data to the main computer, Kevvar said. We will study it carefully. The Morning Star was not a big ship. Only 12 Zilani worked on it. They had no weapons because they had no enemies. Their ship moved slowly because they were never in a hurry. They carried books and computers and scientific tools, not guns or missiles. Kevvar walked a window and looked out at the stars again. His people had been exploring space for 200 years. They had met many different alien races. Most were friendly, or at least not dangerous. The galaxy seemed like a safe place for those who meant no harm. He was wrong. The attack came without warning. One moment, space was empty. The next moment, 5 large ships appeared around them like ghosts becoming real. They were dark and sharp, built for hunting. Their hulls were black metal covered in spikes and weapons. These were not exploration ships. These were predator ships. Captain, Dr. Veltar's voice was full of fear. Unknown ships are surrounding us. Kevvar ran back to his captain's chair. His hands shook as he looked at the scanner screen. 5 ships, each one bigger than the Morning Star. Each one covered in weapons. Each one pointing those weapons right at them. Try to contact them, Kevvar ordered. His voice was steady, but his heart was racing. Maybe they just want to talk. The main screen lit up with an ugly face. The alien had rough, scaly skin like a snake. His eyes were small and mean. Sharp teeth filled his mouth. This was a Korthak, one of the most feared species in the galaxy. They were hunters who caught other aliens for sport and profit. I am War Chief Scarthel, the alien said. His voice was like rocks grinding together. Your ship is now my prize. Your crew will come with me. Kevvar stood up straight, trying to be brave. We are peaceful researchers. We have done nothing wrong. Please let us continue our mission. The Korthak leader laughed. It was a terrible sound. I do not care about your mission, little blue creature. You will fight in my arenas, or you will work as slaves. Either way, you will make me rich. We can give you our research data, Kevvar said quickly. Our star charts are very valuable. Our scientific equipment is worth much money. Scartho laughed again. I do not want your books and computers. I want you. Blue-skinned aliens are rare. The crowd will pay much to watch you fight and die. Kevvar felt his hope die. The Korthak were known throughout the galaxy as slave hunters. They caught peaceful species and sold them to fight in gladiator games. No one had ever escaped from them. No one had ever defeated them in battle. Activate the capture nets. Scartho ordered his crew. The 5 hunter ships began to glow with strange energy. Kevvar watched in horror as beams of light shot out from each ship toward the Morning Star. When the beams hit his ship, everything began to go wrong. The lights flickered and went dim. The engines made sick, choking sounds and then went quiet. The air recycling system began to fail. The capture nets were designed to disable ships without destroying them. Dead slaves were worth nothing. Engineering report. Kevvar called. All systems failing, Captain, came the reply. We cannot move. We cannot fight. We cannot escape. Dr. Veltar was crying. Other crew members were holding each other in fear. They all knew what happened to aliens who were captured by the Korthak. They had all heard the stories. Please, Kevvar said to the screen. We have families. We have children waiting for us to come home. They can watch you die on the arena broadcasts, Scarthol replied. Prepare for boarding. Try to run, and I will make your deaths very slow. The Korthak ships moved closer. Kefvar could see the boarding pods getting ready to launch. In a few minutes, armed hunters would be on his ship. His gentle crew would be prisoners. Their peaceful mission would end in chains and blood. He closed his eyes and thought of his home world. He thought of his mate and his young children. He would never see them again. His crew would never go home. They would die in some faraway arena while aliens cheered for their blood. Then something impossible happened. Captain, Dr. Veltar called out, "There's another ship approaching. It's moving very fast." Kefvar opened his eyes and looked at the scanner. A new contact was racing toward them from the edge of the star system. It was much smaller than the Korthak hunter ships. It looked old and patched together, but it was coming straight toward them at dangerous speed. Scartho noticed it too. His ugly face showed confusion, then amusement. "What is that tiny ship doing?" he asked his crew. "It appears to be a cargo freighter," one of his hunters reported. "The design is human." "Human?" Scartho laughed. "One small human cargo ship thinks it can challenge 5 Korthak hunters? This day becomes more entertaining." Kefvar stared at the approaching ship. Humans were known throughout the galaxy as traders and diplomats. They were not warriors. They solved problems with words and money, not weapons and violence. What could one human cargo ship do against 5 hunter ships full of the galaxy's most dangerous predators? The human ship kept coming closer. It showed no signs of slowing down or turning away. Either the human captain was very brave or very stupid. Soon, they would all find out which one it was. The human ship looked like it had been through hell and back. The hull was covered in patch jobs and repair welds. The paint was burned off in places. One of the engine pods sparked and smoked, but somehow kept running. It was not a pretty ship, but it moved like it had a purpose. Jake Morrison sat in the pilot seat, his hands steady on the controls. His face was hard and weathered, with scars from old battles. His brown hair was getting gray at the edges, and his blue eyes had seen too much pain. He was 42 years old, and he had been running from his past for 5 years. The Ironwill had been his home since he left the Earth Defense Force. It was a cargo freighter, built to carry supplies to frontier colonies. But Jake had made some changes. Hidden weapon ports were welded into the hull. Military-grade engines replaced the original ones. The cargo bay held missiles instead of trade goods. Jake was supposed to be a trader now, not a soldier. But some habits were hard to break. He had been tracking the Korthak hunters for months, following their movements, learning their patterns, trying to find where they took their prisoners. His sister Lisa had been on a colony ship that disappeared 3 years ago. The ship was found later, empty and drifting. No bodies, no survivors, no answers. But Jake knew. Everyone knew what happened when the Korthak found defenseless ships. When the distress signal reached his communication system, Jake did not think twice. The signal was from a Zilani research ship asking for help. The readings showed 5 Korthak hunter ships surrounding them. Any sane person would call for military backup and stay away. Jake was not feeling very sane today. He pushed the engines harder, coaxing more speed from the old freighter. The hull groaned and shook, but held together. He had rebuilt this ship with his own hands. He knew exactly how much punishment it could take. The tactical display showed the situation clearly. 5 big hunter ships against 1 small research vessel. The Zilani had no weapons and no way to escape. In a few minutes, they would be prisoners. In a few days, they would be dead. Jake opened a communication channel to the Korthak fleet. His voice was calm and steady, like he was discussing the weather. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Ironwill. You are holding a civilian research vessel in violation of 17 different galactic treaties. Release them and move along, and we can all go home happy." The response came back immediately. It was laughter, loud and mocking. The Korthak war chief appeared on Jake's screen. His reptilian face was twisted with amusement. "One small human cargo ship thinks it can order me around." Scarthol's voice was full of contempt. "Human, You are either very brave or very stupid. Which is it? Jake smiled, but there was no humor in it. I guess we'll find out. You will make a fine addition to my collection, the war chief continued. The crowd loves to see humans die. You scream so beautifully. Jake's smile faded. His hand moved to the weapon controls. You know, I've been looking for you people for a long time. You took something that belonged to me. We take many things, Scarthol replied. Be more specific. We take many things, Scarthol replied. Be more specific. A colony ship called the New Dawn. 3 years ago. My sister was on it. The war chief thought for a moment, then laughed again. Ah, yes, I remember. The females from that ship fought well in the arenas before they died. Your sister was particularly entertaining. Jake's face went cold. His finger hovered over the firing button. Thank you for clearing that up. You cannot win, human, Scarthol said. 5 ships against 1. My hunters are the best in the galaxy. Your little cargo ship has no chance. Jake looked at his tactical display. The Korthak ships were spreading out, trying to surround him. They thought he would try to run or hide. They thought he would fight like prey. They were wrong. You're right about one thing, Jake said. This isn't going to be fair. He cut the communication and went to work. The iron will have been designed to carry cargo containers in external racks. But the containers Jake was carrying were not full of trade goods. They were decoys, hiding missile pods underneath fake hulls. With the press of a button, the false containers split open like flowers blooming. 36 guided missiles launched at once. The first Korthak hunter ship never had a chance. The missiles hit it from 6 different angles, tearing through armor and hull. The ship exploded in a ball of fire and debris. The second ship tried to turn away, but Jake was already moving. The Irewell spun like a dancer, bringing more weapons to bear. Laser cannons that were supposed to be mining tools cut through the hunter ship's weapon systems. Without its guns, the Korthak ship could only run. War Chief Scarthol stared at his tactical display in shock. 1 minute ago, he had been about to capture easy prey. Now one of his ships was destroyed, and another was crippled. The human cargo ship moved like nothing he had ever seen. All ships, target the human, he ordered. Destroy it now. The remaining hunter ships opened fire. Energy beams and missiles filled space around the iron will. But Jake was not where they expected him to be. He used a disabled Zolani ship as cover, staying close enough that the Korthak could not fire without hitting their own prize. Jake had studied Korthak tactics for years. He knew their ships were built for overwhelming weak opponents, not for fighting equals. They were fast in a straight line, but could not turn quickly. Their weapons were powerful, but not accurate at close range. He used every weakness against them. The Ironwood dove under one hunter ship, scraping its belly against the enemy hull. Jake's dorsal cannons fired straight up, punching holes in the Korthak ship's engine room. The hunter spun out of control, leaking atmosphere and fuel. Another ship tried to ram him, but Jake was already gone. He slipped between 2 asteroids, using their gravity to slingshot toward his next target. The Korthak captain tried to follow and smashed his ship into the rocks. 2 ships destroyed, 2 disabled. Only the war chief's command ship was still fighting. Jake's ship had taken damage too. Hull plates were melted and twisted. 1 engine was failing. The life support system was working overtime to clear the smoke from damaged circuits. But he kept fighting with a fury that amazed the watching Zolani. Captain Kethvar watched from his disabled bridge in wonder. He had never seen anything like this. The human fought like his life meant nothing, but with a skill that suggested it meant everything. Why? Kethvar whispered. Why would he risk so much for strangers? The battle was not over yet. Scarthol still had 1 ship, and it was the biggest and most dangerous of all. The war chief was furious now, all thoughts of capture forgotten. He wanted the human dead. The 2 ships faced each other across empty space. Predator against protector. Hunter against prey that refused to die. It was time for the final round. War Chief Scarthol had never felt fear before. In 50 years of hunting, he had never met prey that could fight back. He had captured thousands of aliens and sold them to die in the arenas. Ship after ship had surrendered to his superior firepower. Entire colonies had bowed before his might. But this human was different. This human was dangerous. Human, Scartho broadcast across all channels. You fight well for cargo ship scum, but you are alone and damaged. Surrender now, and I will give you a quick death. Jake's voice came back calm and cold. I've got a better idea. How about you surrender, and I'll make sure you get a fair trial before they execute you. The war chief's ship was 3 times bigger than the Iron Will. It had more weapons, thicker armor, and a crew of experienced killers. By all logic, the human should be afraid. Instead, he sounded like he was looking forward to the fight. You destroyed my ships, Scartho snarled. Kill my hunters. For what? These blue-skinned weaklings mean nothing to you. They're people, Jake replied simply. That's enough. The war chief could not understand. In Korthak culture, only strength mattered. The weak existed to serve the strong. The idea of risking everything for strangers made no sense to him. You will die for nothing, Scartho said. We'll see. Both ships began moving at the same time. Scartho's command vessel was built like a fortress, bristling with weapons. The Iron Will looked like a toy beside it, but toys could be dangerous in the right hands. Jake did not try to match firepower with the bigger ship. Instead, he did something unexpected. He charged straight at it. The war chief smiled and ordered all weapons to fire. Energy beams and missiles filled the space where the human ship should have been. But at the last second, Jake rolled the Iron Will to one side and dug beneath the command ship's belly. Korthak ships were designed to fight enemies at long range. They had blind spots underneath where their weapons could not reach. Jake stayed in that blind spot, using his smaller ship's agility to avoid the war chief's desperate attempts to shake him off. Jake's remaining missiles launched upward into the command ship's hull. They were not enough to destroy such a large vessel, but they did not need to be. Jake had studied Korthak ship designs for years. He knew exactly where to hit them. The missiles punched through into the command ship's main power conduits. Lights flickered throughout the vessel as energy systems failed. The artificial gravity cut out, sending the crew floating helplessly through the corridors. Impossible, Scartho roared. No one knows our ship designs that well. I made it my business to know, Jake replied. The Iron Will broke away from the command ship's hull, trailing smoke and sparks. Jake's ship was badly damaged now. The hull was cracked in several places. One of his main engines was dead. His missile supply was almost gone, but he was not finished yet. Scartho tried to use his ship's superior speed to get distance for another attack run. The command vessel was wounded but not beaten. Its main weapons were still working. If he could get far enough away, he could pound the human ship to scrap. Jake would not let him. The Iron Will limped after the bigger ship, like a wounded dog chasing a bear. Every time Scartho tried to turn around, Jake was there, staying close, using asteroids and debris for cover. Stand still and die, the war chief screamed. Make me, Jake answered. The two ships danced through the asteroid field in a deadly ballet. The command ship was faster, but less agile. The Iron Will was tiny but quick. Neither could get a clean shot at the other. Captain Kevvar watched from his disabled bridge in amazement. He had never seen anything like this battle. The human pilot moved his ship like it was part of his own body. Every maneuver was perfect. Every attack hit exactly where it would do the most damage. The new ships appeared on the scanner, like angry wasps coming to defend their nest. 6 vessels of different sizes and shapes, all bearing human registration codes. They were not military ships. They were traders, miners, and passenger haulers. But they were coming fast, and they were coming armed. Captain Kevvar stared at his repaired scanner in disbelief. How did they know to come here? Jake's voice was weak, but satisfied. I sent out a broadcast while we were fighting. Emergency frequency, open channel. Any human ship within 50 light years would have heard it. But these are civilian vessels, Dr. Veltar said from her science station. Why would merchants and miners risk their lives for strangers? Jake coughed, and Kethvar could hear the pain in his voice. You don't understand humans very well yet. When one of us calls for help, the others come running. War Chief Scartho watched the approaching ships with growing alarm. His command vessel was badly damaged, life support failing in half the compartments. His remaining hunter ship was dead in space, crew trapped inside a crippled hull. He had gone from predator to prey in the space of an hour. "Human," he broadcast to Jake's ship. "Call off your friends, and I will let the blueskins live. You have already cost me much. Do not make this worse." Jake's laughter was cold and bitter. "You still don't get it, do you? This was never about just saving one ship. This was about making sure you never do this again." The lead human vessel identified itself as the Lucky Strike, a deep space mining ship. Its captain, Sam Rodriguez, had been pulling ore from asteroids for 20 years. His ship was built to break apart mountains, not fight wars. But it was tough and armed with industrial cutting tools that could slice through hull plating like paper. "Jake Morrison, this is Sam Rodriguez," came the gruff voice over the radio. "Heard your call for help. Sorry it took us so long to get here." "Better late than never, Sam. How many ships you got with you?" "6 total. We got the New Horizon passenger liner, the Star Trader cargo hauler, the Frontier Express fast courier, the Deep Space Harvester ship, and the Wanderer exploration vessel. Not exactly a battle fleet, but we'll do what we can." Scartho listened to the human chatter with growing unease. These were not soldiers. They were ordinary people with ordinary jobs, but they spoke like veterans planning an attack. How could merchants and miners coordinate so quickly? "Human vessels," he broadcast on all frequencies. "This does not concern you. Leave now and no harm will come to you." The response came from Amy Chun, captain of the New Horizon passenger liner. "Actually, it concerns us a lot. See, we don't like bullies who pick on peaceful researchers. This is a legal salvage operation." Scartho lied. "These aliens violated our territorial claims." "Funny thing about that," said Rodriguez from the Lucky Strike. "I've been mining this sector for 15 years. There are no Korthak territorial claims here. Just a lying slave trader trying to talk his way out of trouble." The war chief realized that these humans were not going to be intimidated or fooled. They had made up their minds to fight, logic and odds be damned. It was the kind of stubborn stupidity that had made humans notorious throughout the galaxy. "You cannot win," he told them. "My ship is damaged but still functional. My weapons still work. I will destroy you all." "Maybe," Jake's voice cut in, "but you'll pay for every ship you take. And we already sent detailed scans of your vessels and weapon signatures to the Galactic Defense Force. Even if you kill us all, they'll know who did it." Scartho felt something he had never experienced before: desperation. His hunting operation in this sector was finished whether he won this fight or not. The secret was out. Other species would be warned. Military patrols would increase. Unless he could destroy all the witnesses. "All weapons, prepare to fire," he ordered his crew. "Target the largest human ship first." But the humans were not waiting for him to make the first move. The Lucky Strike accelerated toward the crippled command ship, using its massive bulk as a shield while the other vessels spread out in attack formation. "Sam, what are you doing?" Jake called out. "Something my granddad would have called a ram," Rodriguez replied. "Hold on to your hats, everybody." The mining ship was built like a flying asteroid, all heavy armor and industrial machinery. It was not fast, but it was incredibly tough. Scartho's weapons fired again and again, but the Lucky Strike kept coming to the storm of energy beams and missiles. Rodriguez had spent decades ramming mining equipment into solid rock. He knew exactly how much punishment his ship could take. The Lucky Strike's armor held as it closed the distance with the Korthak command ship. At the last second, the war chief realized what the human was planning: evasive action, all power to engines. But the damaged command ship could not move fast enough. The Lucky Strike's reinforced nose smashed into the Korthak vessel's side like a hammer hitting glass. Both ships shuddered from the impact. Hull plates buckled and tore. The command ship's remaining weapons went silent. "Sam, report." Jake called out. There was no answer from the Lucky Strike. The mining ship was locked against command vessel's hull, both ships drifting together through space. But the other human ships were still attacking. The New Horizon used its powerful communication arrays to coordinate the assault while its security teams prepared for boarding action. The Star Trader and Frontier Express attacked the remaining Hunter ship with cargo handling tools converted into weapons. Captain Kevvar watched in amazement as the human vessels worked together like parts of a single machine. They had never fought together before, came from different companies and different worlds, but they moved with perfect coordination. "How do they do that?" he asked Jake over the radio. "How do they fight so well without military training?" Jake's voice was growing weaker, but there was pride in it. "Same way we do everything else. We figure it out as we go along and help each other when we can." The battle was almost over. The remaining Korthak Hunter ship was dead in space, its crew surrendering rather than face more human ingenuity. Scarthol's command vessel was crippled and powerless. The war chief himself was trapped on his bridge, surrounded by failing systems and dying crew members. "This is impossible," he whispered. "We are the hunters. We are the predators. How can prey defeat us?" Jake's ship drifted closer to wreckage, running on emergency power alone. His voice came across the radio one more time, weak but clear, "Because you never understood what you were really hunting. You thought we were sheep. But sheep don't build starships and cross the galaxy to help strangers. You weren't hunting prey, Scarthol. You were hunting shepherds." The war chief stared at his tactical display, seeing the human ships moving to secure the area and rescue survivors. His career as a hunter was over. His reputation was destroyed. His ship was scrap metal. And somewhere in the back of his mind, a terrible thought began to grow. If these ordinary humans could do this to elite hunters, what would happen when their Real military arrived? What had he started? 3 hours after battle ended, Jake Morrison woke up in the medical bay of the Zolani research ship Morning Star. His body ached all over, and his left arm was wrapped in healing gel. But he was alive, which was more than he had expected when his ship started falling apart. Dr. Veltar was checking his vital signs with gentle blue hands. Her large eyes were full of concern and gratitude. "You should not have survived," she said softly. "Your ship's life support failed completely. Captain Chen's crew found you just in time." Jake tried to sit up and immediately regretted it. Everything hurt. The Korthak ships? Destroyed or captured. War Chief Scartho is alive but badly injured. The human Captain Rodriguez. Dr. Veltar's voice became sad. He did not survive the ramming attack. His ship's bridge was crushed in the collision. Jake closed his eyes. Sam Rodriguez had been a good man, a miner who spent his life pulling resources from dead rocks to help build colonies. He had died fighting slave traders to save people he had never met. It was exactly the kind of thing Sam would do. His crew. Most survived. They were in the protected engineering sections when the collision happened. They are very proud of their captain. Jake nodded slowly. Pride and grief mixed together in his chest. This was why he had left the military after losing his squadron. Watching good people die never got easier. Captain Kevvar entered the medical bay, his blue face serious but respectful. "Human Jake, my people owe you a debt we can never repay. You risked everything for strangers." "Just did what anyone would do," Jake replied. Kevvar shook his head. "No, what you did was extraordinary. I have been broadcasting a full report to the Galactic Council. The entire galaxy will know what happened here." Jake frowned. That might not be such a good idea. The Korthak have friends. Enemies too, but friends as well. Some species might not like humans getting involved in their business. "Then they can complain to the Council," Kevvar said firmly. "What I witnessed here must be shared. The galaxy needs to understand what humans truly are." Over the next few days, Kevvar's report spread to the galactic communication networks like wildfire. It was not just a dry military summary. It was a story of courage and sacrifice that touched every species that heard it. The report described how one human cargo ship had attacked 5 Korthak hunter vessels to save strangers, how ordinary human civilians had dropped everything to answer a distress call, how they had fought with whatever tools they had, turning mining equipment and cargo haulers into weapons of war. But most importantly, it described why they had done it. not for money or territory or political advantage, simply because someone needed help. The galaxy's reaction was immediate and overwhelming. The Korthak Hunting Guild issued angry statements, claiming their ships had been attacked without provocation. But their protests fell on deaf ears when the battle recordings were released. The communications between Scarthol and Jake made it clear who the aggressors had been. Other predator species began to reassess their operations. If human merchants could destroy elite Korthak hunters, what would happen when they encounter human military forces? Suddenly, raiding human shipping lanes seemed like a very bad idea. But the most important reaction came from the victims. Species that had suffered under Korthak raids for decades began to speak out. They shared their own stories of ships that had vanished, colonies that had been pillaged, family members who had disappeared into alien slave markets. The Galactic Defense Force, under pressure from dozens of member species, launched a massive investigation into Korthak hunting operations. Within weeks, they had shut down slave markets on 12 worlds and liberated thousands of prisoners. Jake learned about his sister 3 weeks after the battle. Lisa Morrison was found in a prison camp on the edge of Korthak space, along with 200 other humans from various captured ships. She was alive, though scarred by her experiences. When Jake called her on the communication link, they both cried. "I knew someone would come for us eventually," Lisa said through her tears. "I just didn't expect it to be my crazy little brother taking on the entire Korthak fleet." Jake was recovering on a Zalani medical station, his ship beyond any hope of repair. The Ironwood fought its last battle and died protecting people it had never met. Jake expected to spend months trying to find passage back to human space. Instead, Captain Kethvar made him an offer. "The Zalani Council has voted to fund construction of our first armed research vessel," Kethvar explained. "We can no longer pretend that the galaxy is safe for peaceful exploration. We need someone who understands both exploration and protection to captain this ship." Jake looked out the viewport at the stars. For 5 years, he had been running cargo and trying to forget the war. But the war had never really ended. There were predators out there hunting innocent people. Someone needed to stop them. "What would you call this ship?" he asked. "The Morning Star 2, Kethvar replied. "In honor of the ship you saved." Jake thought about Sam Rodriguez, who had died ramming a slave ship to protect strangers, about his sister Lisa, who had survived 3 years of hell because she never stopped believing someone would come, about all the species in the galaxy who lived in fear of hunters and raiders. "I accept," he said. 6 months later, the Morning Star 2 launched from the Zalani shipyards. It looked like a research vessel from the outside, but it carried enough firepower to fight a small fleet. Jake Morrison was its captain, with a mixed crew of humans and Zalani working together. War Chief Scarthol, serving a life sentence in a maximum security prison, watched the launch on the news feeds. He had become infamous throughout the galaxy as a hunter who had learned what happened when you threatened something a human decided to protect. In his cell, surrounded by the wreckage of his reputation and his hunting fleet, Scarthol finally understood what he had awakened. For centuries, the galaxy's predator species had assumed humans were just another peaceful race to be exploited, traders and diplomats who solved problems with words and money. But when words failed and innocent people were threatened, humans became something else entirely. They became guardians who would fight impossible odds to protect strangers. They became shepherds watching over the galaxy's sheep. And they never fought alone. The legend of the cargo ship that took on 500 vessels spread to every corner of known space. In the deep space trading posts and frontier stations, humans found themselves welcomed with new respect and gratitude. Other species began to understand that humanity's true strength was not their technology or their numbers. It was their refusal to let the predators win. The galaxy learned a new phrase a year, whispered in 100 different languages: "Never corner a human who is friends." And in the vast darkness between the stars, the hunters learned to fear the shepherds.